I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Jon Jones. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, my friend and yours, Angel Ortega. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. UFC Vegas 100 was an event that happened allegedly in Las Vegas, Nevada. UFC 309, though, going down this Saturday night from New York City. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Yeah, that's happening too. But before we break into all the previews, all the news, as always, we're brought to you by a couple sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Rogue Energy, keep me filled up whether I'm at home, at the gym, or at work. They can help you get to the finish line as well with code Soundoff at checkout. Code Soundoff once you get for 10% off. ELYXR, they can get you really high with their Delta 8 products. Once again, code Soundoff when you spell the brand's name all caps at checkout for 10% off for Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Also, we're brought to you by our friends over at BetMGM. Guys, there's a lot of action this week. I don't know if you know this. UFC 309, the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. Now, granted, I know that the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, depending on where you're at, there's not a line out for it. Depending on certain athletic commissions aren't putting a line on the fight, which I find interesting because of like the mixed rules or whatever.
But it's technically a sanctioned pro bout.
It is a sanctioned pro bout, but 2-minute rounds makes it a little bit differently. So a couple of, I think, like New York, California, I think, decide not to. But if you want to throw some money on that, if you're in a state, you can actually follow the link down below. Get up to $1,500 in free bets back if you don't hit. And you're starting an account for the first time with BetMGM. If you have any issues, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. But if you want to go and have some fun, go ahead and follow that link down below. BetMGM, our friends over there, will get you hooked up and for the fights this weekend, man. Big, two massive events, both very kind of depressing, but it's just massive nonetheless. So go ahead and have some fun over there. And also, our friends over at Rebet, I believe they will do a deposit bonus match up to $1,500. I may be getting that slightly wrong, but I know they're going to do big deposit matches if you do code Soundoff, all caps, as well, when you go ahead and sign up for Rebet. Look, Angel, I'm not going to lie with you, man. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this card. It's not because the card was bad. I'll say that. I think there were a lot of big highlights here, but I think there's just more important stuff to talk about this episode. But nonetheless, we're going to start off at the top. UFC Vegas 100. In the main event, Carlos Prates passes the test with flying colors, knocks out Neil Magny in one. Look, dude, I've seen a lot of people compare him to a modern-day Ricardo Mayorga. I kind of like that comparison, you know. Doesn't chain smoke as much. I mean, I saw he was on Hawani show, Carlos Prates, and he's like, yeah, I smoke 8 to 10 a day.
Or a pack.
Yeah. It's like, dude, 8 to 10 a day, shit. That's Ricardo Mayorga's breakfast, my man.
He's also some Sakuraba shit, the chain smoker.
Yeah, he really is. I love it, man. But knocked the Haitian sensation out inside one round. You know, we've seen a couple of guys now come through, and typically the Neil Magny test is this. It's one thing if you beat him, but if you beat him in flying colors like that, it's generally a pretty good sign for how you're going to fare, at least in the top half of the rankings. Give me your thoughts on the win, man. Done inside one. Not a whole lot to really say, but a very impressive knockout nonetheless.
I mean, look, he has thrown himself in a conversation that I did not expect. I mean, 4 fights in the year, 4 bonuses, 4 finishes. I can't remember the last time someone had this kind of year, especially like this is his first year as of like within the UFC promotion, if we're not including the contender. Yeah. So it's his rookie year, and this is what he's performed, and he's already become a ranked fighter. I can't think of the last guy who did something like to this level of caliber. And to be 13 at this point in the rankings, especially a welterweight too, is like, holy fuck. And he's beating good guys in the fashion that he has. Like, and we even talked about it last week. I'm like, clearly if they put him in this position, they clearly have some level of hope / interest for him, and they see the potential, and clearly it paid off here. The big tests are coming forward though on their way. Like, I think he broke in at 13. I think the fight I said I want to see next is Jeff Neal.
I like that.
I'm genuinely super excited to talk about him. I can't remember the last time we had a guy like come in like this and make waves like this in a while.
Yeah. I mean, dude, oh my God, it's just more impressive the more you think about it. So he fought Mitch Ramirez November 18th, 2023, the Dana Contender Series 60. Wins that by second round knockout. Gets on to the UFC. 4 months later, he fights Trevin Giles, knocks him out inside 2 rounds. 4 months after that, he knocks out Charles Radke. 2 months after that, he knocks out Li Jingliang. And then a few months after that, he knocks out Neil Magny. He's gotten 5 wins in the span of 12 months. 5 knockout wins in the span of 12 fucking months. He's exactly what his name says, the nightmare. He's a nightmare for these UFC welterweights, man. I mean, just absolutely wrecking dudes. And it's easy, dude. I think even like the story isn't really fully being told in like the right way. Like, he's an impressive guy. He's a killer. But he's a guy that just 5 years ago was 10-6. He was fighting in one championship, actually. Not making
Crazy,
it,
right?
not making any waves. Not even like he wasn't even fighting on. So he was fighting for one. Yeah. Like, he was not a relevant guy at all in one championship, which is why a lot of people don't even know that.
Great. A lot of his losses came pretty early on in his career.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he was, but still at one point he was 10-6, struggling badly, and didn't even get re-signed to one after a 3-fight deal. So it's like, this guy could have easily have just gone down the pantheon of tons of. I mean, this is what happens to like 99% of MMA fighters. They struggle. They don't end up getting signed to the UFC, so on and so forth, right? Dude just turned it all around.
He could have been fighting in fucking M1 Global.
Yeah. I mean, he took 2 years off after he left one championship, and he just put it all together, man. Ever since then, he's gotten, man, every single win by knockout.
Isn't it crazy? Like, just a switch flipped. Like,
yeah.
I'm curious to see what the ceiling's gonna be. I'm curious to see what the limits are gonna be. I mean, welterweight's full of fucking killers.
Yeah, and as he gets up the rankings more, we're gonna really see his grappling get tested too. I mean, guys. I mean, if they ever fight Colby, Kamaru, you know, like guys like that. Shavkat's like got great grappling. Obviously, Sean Brady, guys like that. We're gonna get to see that aspect of his game tested more. But on the feet, man, he's the real deal. I mean, dude, fuck, dude. New Magny got done badly, man. You know what I mean? Like that was a rough sight, dude. And even watching the replay, you're kind of like, what did he even hit him with? You know, like he just generates that much power in such short shots. So, man, impressive as fuck. I mean, you said it. Jeff Neal, ranked number 11. I love that fight, man. I really like that a lot. Coming off a win as well, granted by injury, you know, but still,
Win's a win, man.
Win's a win. Yeah, man, I love that fight. Don't give him Wonder Boy. Don't you give Wonder Boy some time, man. I'd watching it wrecked by Buckley. So yeah, man. But yeah, I think that's a perfect matchup for him next. And then he, you know, only one spot ahead of him is Michael Morales, dude. That's a fight that, like,
people talked about that, but I'm kind of like,
that's too soon, man.
Give it a look. Let him merit to both. He, especially because Morales is a lot younger.
Exactly.
I think Morales is like 26.
Yeah, like I'd give that fight some time, man, because like, damn,
25, 26, like that'll come around. And on top of that,
25.
He's 30. Yeah, like Carlos Prates is 30. Like he's at a little somewhat different stage of his career, you know, where he's hitting his prime, and Michael Morales is probably trying to build into his prime. Exactly.
Yeah, man. I like the Jeff Neal fight a lot, though. Let that Michael Morales fight marinate, because that's a fight like in a year or two from now. Like, that's going to be a big fight, especially if these guys continue on the trajectory they're on, and especially with Carlos Prates seemingly fighting every 3 months. Yeah, man, I love to see it, and I love guys that come through and have that sort of activity. You know what I mean? I'm really biased when I see a motherfucker come through. It's like, so you won by first round knockout, and you're going to wait 14 months to fight, like. Kind of weird, you know, but he's staying active, dude. 5 fights in a year, absolutely insane, all by knockout.
It's so cool, man. It's so cool to have someone so likable like this again.
But, and I didn't realize until I looked at his record, dude. Like after leaving one championship in 2019 or 2019, he every single fight knockout win, every single one. That's insane.
By the way, have you seen like the highlight video of him just like partying, drinking, smoking?
That dude, modern
grilling.
Day,
like just living it up.
Modern day Ricardo Mayorga, although he's not talking shit about their wives and doing some crazy shit.
By the way, did you
like
see that Full Violence did a video with all the fighting nerds people? Like all the fighters?
No, I did not.
Well, they did a little video like what is it, like who's most likely to or whatever, some shit like that. Or who I think one of them was like, who's most likely to spend their 50K bonus after getting it, and they all flipped their card. It was all Carlos Prates, or they all raised their card.
That sounds about right to me.
And they said that he spent all 3 bonuses already.
Oh fuck, dude! Yeah.
By the way, in the year he made I mean, in just bonuses, he made what, $200,000 on top of his pay, which I mean, it's a contender contract, which I'm pretty sure he's probably cleared out now, because contender contracts tend to be around 4 or 5 fights.
Yeah, 4 fights. So yeah, actually, yeah.
So he's getting ready to sign a new deal.
Good for him, man.
And at the right time too, because he's ranked now, so he's gonna get fucking paid.
What a guy, dude! Oh, I love that. I love seeing that work out. Man.
Get his fucking bag, dude.
Yeah. You know who also is getting his well, actually, he's not getting his bag. He's actually admitted that he's actually taking a pay cut now in the UFC. But Rene de Ridder.
Only for now, though. Only for now. The Dutch Knight makes his UFC debut. Long awaited. I'm not going to... People were shitting on him hardcore Dude, I thought it was a good fight.
I thought it was a good fight. These guys went out there, they banged it out, and I thought he was winning. I thought clearly going into the third round, he ended up getting the finish win. I'm not going to freak out about it. I mean, Gerald Mearshard's we know what he is. He is a top 15, just outside of the top 15 guy who can beat you if you're not at your max game. So in first fight, UC Jitters, I thought he looked fine. Did he look like he's going to go in there and wreck shop and become champion? Probably not.
First cut's 85 too. That's another thing.
Yeah, but I'm not going to look too deeply into
because he was big, dude. He was really big.
Like, let's real quickly, let's just run through it. So he officially submitted him in the third round, not ranked, obviously, but he's kind of on the outskirts. Jeremy Shard. If they had like a top 20 rankings, he'd be somewhere in there. I mean, he's just on the outskirts.
20, 25,
Yeah. So at 15, Michelle Pahea.
That's a winnable fight.
I think it's a winnable fight too. Sean Magomedov. That's a winnable fight.
That's a winnable fight.
Anthony Hernandez.
It's a hard fight.
That's a hard fight, but I want to see that fight.
But I could see that fight.
Jack Hermanson.
That's a winnable fight.
Paulo Costa.
It's a hard fight, but it's probably his hardest fight at that point.
Yeah. Roman Delite.
Winnable fight.
Brendan Allen. Winnable fight.
Winnable fight.
Jared Cannonier.
That's a winnable. Like, I'd say that's winnable. It's a very hard fight.
These are all, and then I think past that point you get Marbatori. I think that's another winnable fight. But beyond that, that's when
they start getting really hard.
Kyle Baralho, Imavov, Whitaker, Chimaev, Adesanya, and Strickland. That's the top 6. I think he can get into top 7. Like, I think he could beat a lot of those guys. But it's once you start to get into that top 6 that you're gonna have issues. But I feel like a lot of people kind of overreacted on Saturday night.
Yeah, and people were hating on that fight, but I think they were hating on it because they didn't know what they were watching. You know what I mean? Grappling can be really fun. Like, there could be fun grappling fights, and I thought that was one of the ones that was actually pretty fun. Yeah, all the positional changes, the transitions, all that were really, really, really fun. Like, I'll always point back to like a fun, like heavy grappling base fight was Gamrot Saryukin, dude. Like, there was a lot of grappling in that fight, and it was so fun.
Yeah, and Saryukin got robbed, but I mean, hey man, you can get it all right.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm fucking around,
but I'm genuinely excited to see his next fight.
Yeah,
all I gotta say is like, look, he has a skill set. He works within that skill set. We need fighters like this. There's gonna be guys that need to exist like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's good to have RDRs around in your promotion.
Yeah. I feel like there's this. I don't know if it's a new fan thing, but like it felt like that was understood like 10 years ago, like that. Not everybody's going to be a champion, and that's okay. And that you need to have fun fighters.
That's why you have GM3 guys around. That's why you have Jim Miller types around. You know,
Donald Cerrone back in the day. I mean, Joe Lozon guys like that.
Kevin Holland, which granted, I think Kevin Holland has. I'm not gonna say untapped potential, but he doesn't maximize his potential, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, Kevin Holland. Yeah, I mean that middleweight run when he first started. I mean, was insane. Got in the top 5. So but regardless, I mean, a lot of people seem to think like a lot of people like shitting on like, oh, this guy's not that good. It's like, dude, like. He beat like a almost top 15 guy. Like he is still a good fighter. It's just maybe he's not. Yeah.
And his major loss outside and one was to a guy who became triple champ.
Exactly.
And is normally fights at fucking heavyweight.
Exactly. So I'm not going to look too deeply into this. Was it everything I wanted? Did he go out there and like wreck? He didn't beat him in the first round. He didn't do all that. But look, dude, to get a stoppage win your UFC debut over a longtime veteran and a great grappler, great. Like I really no issues. So a good win for him, man. I love to see it. I'm very interested to see who they book him against next. Did you see him go just shit on one championship ruthlessly? And
he did not hold back.
He did not hold back.
By the way, the broadcast mentioned one championship without any regard.
They've been doing that more because whenever they have Chandler, they put up Bellator champion and all that shit. They've seemed like they've.
There's been times where they say like another promotions champ or been double champ and another, like they definitely use like certain kind of language to avoid mentioning another promotion.
Well, they or mentioning certain fighters. I mean, we saw. I mean, I talked about this with you previously before we started filming, but like the UFC released like top 100 knockouts in the UFC Apex video, and they didn't have Francis Ngannou in there, even though he murdered Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Stipe Miocic. They're treating the guy like he's fucking Chris Benoit. And it's just like
just trying to delete him.
It's just like, bro, he just wanted to go boxing, bro. Like it's really like it's okay. Like chill out, bro. And in the countdown show for UFC 309, they didn't show Ngannou beating Stipe, but they did show Stipe beating Ngannou. Just like it's like just hilariously petty. But as far as the rest of the UFC Vegas 100 card goes, man, I mean, Bolaños picked up a win. That
by the way,
looked good.
He improved a bit. He showed some grappling.
Yeah.
I thought Contavious Ramonius was like nothing away from winning it.
God, what a name, man.
So Dreamkiller, shout out. Like I didn't expect him to like kind of bounce back and show a different skill set. So he's been working on the lab.
Yeah.
Dude, Jillian Robertson most unexpected little run that she's put together. I mean, she's doing it her way. This is gonna sound weird, but I think she's kind of like our modern days in a very different way, because she's, I think, better in some areas, like Roxanne Modafferi.
Oh, I can see that.
Because like her personality, she's a heavy like grappling based fighter. Like she gives me some little essences of Roxy.
Here's kind of the thing that a lot of people forget. So Jillian Robertson signed to the UFC in 2017. She was 22 years old. She's now 29. She's just hitting her prime. And you could see it in the record, man. She's won 5 of her last 6. The only loss being a very competitive fight with Tabitha Ricci. You know, so... And some of the names she's beating, too. I mean, Luna Pereiro is not like an excellent name, but it's top 15 gal. Michelle Warson sent her into retirement. Poliana Viana knocked her out. Like, she's looked great in these fights, man. Like you said, nice little run she's putting together here. Love to see it. The Savage out of Canada. Yeah, I'm a big Jillian Robertson fan, man.
I think she can make some waves. Like if she keeps improving, develops her striking more, gets her wrestling to a good spot, and can get girls to fight like to the ground consistently, I think she could be an interesting player.
She's Canada's best hope. She's Canada's
no
best
bullshit. Hope. You're probably not even wrong.
It's like who are the big, like we were talking about this last week, but like who are the names out of Canada right now? I mean, you got Mike Malott.
I'm into Hobby.
Yeah,
Jasmine Duties off the top of the head.
Like there's like 3 or 4 names.
But Charles Jourdain, but you're not necessarily thinking like at this moment in time championship. You know,
Jillian Robertson's ranked number 12 though, so she's your hope.
She's the best Canadian fighter on the roster according to based off that.
I would agree. Mansour Abdul Malik murdered Dusko Turovic in the first round. Fun fight, man. They swinged and banged. Denise Gomez defeated Karolina Kokovic. Karolina, 39 now. Some people thought she was going to retire. He came out afterwards. She's like, nah, man, I'm going to keep on fighting. And at this point, I can't doubt her. I mean, she went that 5-fight losing streak where she had her broken orbital, I think, against Jon Jones, and just really brutal shit. And then she rebounded with 4 wins in a row, got back into the rankings. Like, that's one of the most underrated stories of the last few years, in my opinion. Like, she's riding a 2-fight losing streak now, but both those fights were competitive. This one was competitive too. So we'll see what happens next for KK. Jesus Gillespie dos Santos
obliterated Zach Swan. But dude, like
Kansas City native, rough night.
I said it last week, dude. You do not want to be a UFC newcomer to fight on short notice a guy like Gillespie dos Santos.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the guy
Gillespie dos Santos.
He's a killer, man. I mean, he nearly beat Renat Factor-Itinov a year ago, and now you're getting a guy on 3 days' notice.
Yeah, like I was like, dude, like I really felt for Zach, especially because he's a local guy. I was just like, dude, oh god, like
I wanted to have hope, but it went way worse.
I get why he wanted to take that fight, but dude, that's not the fight I would have advised you to take.
No. And we'll see how he does move forward. But I mean, and he missed weight too. I hope he doesn't get cut, but they've done worse.
He was not there were not ideal circumstances by all. I do not. This fight will not define his career.
No, not at all. Charles Radke knocked out Matthew.
Charles Slur Radke. He didn't drop any slurs in his post fight. That was nice to see. But he did defeat Matthew Smydsberg. Man, Semi the Jedi. I really thought I felt for him in this one. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I really thought I thought he was gonna be around longer. Man, 4 losses in a row. Maybe they'll cut him. Maybe they won't. We'll see. Very entertaining guy. I hope they keep him around, but I would be surprised if they cut him. Damon Blackshear submits Cody Stamann.
Underappreciated guy at 135.
I absolutely agree, because Cody Stamann, man, you look at his record, who is beating this guy? Typically just like top 15 guys, maybe in future champions, really. Aljamain Sterling, Jimmy Rivera, Merab Dvalishvili, Saeed Nurmagomedov, Douglas Silva de Andrade, and Taylor Lepisis or whatever. So all like really good names, man. Top 15. I mean, Kukoval's got 2 one now current champ, 1 former champ. Like all great names. So if you're beating him, that's typically a good sign for your career, honestly. So big win for Damon Blackshear. Dude, Trayshawn Gore, though, one of the highlights of the card.
Feel good moment, man.
Feel good moment. Dude, I said it last week on the show, and I feel so vindicated. I was like, this guy has all the physical tools. He just needs to stay healthy, and he needs to keep on working. And you saw that work in there, man. If that motherfucker gets his hands on you and puts you in a guillotine, you're done. Just a back-to-back brutal.
Dude, no bullshit. He did that for Mackenzie Dern's baby daddy, bro. Like, there was some...
Yeah, he's like, yeah, man, I saw
not at the school.
I saw the police report. Nah, man, he back-to-back straight guillotine chokes. Brutal.
It's been a while. I hope we see him fight again soon, man. He's a very likable guy. He's an interesting guy.
Mr. Vicious. What a name.
How old is he? I hope he capitalizes.
30.
I hope he can capitalize on the time he has.
Yeah, man.
Even if he doesn't become champion, I just want to see him cap out, like whatever the cap is.
Only 7 fights deep in his career, just turned 30. We'll keep an eye on him. 185, 30 is not much, man. I mean, if you're
also
like
185 is like you can climb.
You can climb real quick, man. So I loved seeing that. Maybe he can re-earn himself a Bo Nickel fight after this weekend. We'll see what happens. Probably not though. I mean, depending on how. Bo looks,
if Bo wins, he's only gonna fight ranked fighters.
But depending on how he looks, though, if he goes out there and puts on if he wins in like a really boring fight, I could see them being like, okay.
But I mean, if he's done what he's been doing, I think though.
No, probably. Yeah. We'll see though. I like Trayshawn Gore, and then Melissa Mullins over the card got a solid knockout.
Decimated that girl. Though.
Yeah, Melissa Mullins, man. Was it her that missed weight? Let me double check. I thought it was Claudia that missed weight. Just want to double check before I say it though.
No, I'm checking. She made weight. Oh, 1 pound?
It's a catch weight 137. So somebody missed by 1 pound.
Yeah, it was her.
Okay, she missed weight.
Yeah, she weighed in at 137.
Well, regardless, still look good though, man. Out of the UK. Young woman. She's got some hype. So
she's got that dog in her, bro.
Got that dog in her. Look, Angel. Let's not dick around. Let's not dick around.
No more fucking around, Josh.
No more fucking around. It is UFC 309 Fight Week, going down from the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Man, a year ago, we were expecting Jon Jones to fight Stipe Miocic. And a year later, the stakes are entirely the same. Nothing's changed. We've been frozen in time for the last 12 months. These guys are supposed to fight UFC 295. Jon Jones, as we know, gets hurt, tears his pectorals. They're like, yo, Stipe, get off the card, man. We're going to have Tom Aspinall step up to fight Sergey Pavlovich. Tom Aspinall knocks out Sergey Pavlovich, becomes the interim champion. And then Tom Aspinall gets booked because Jon Jones is still hurt. They fights Curtis Blades. He knocks him out. He gets on the mic and says, John, I have no disrespect towards you. I just think I could beat you in a fight. So Jon Jones said, instead he booked a fight against Stipe Miocic, and now we're here. 42 years old, hasn't competed since a knockout loss to Francis Ngannou in early 2021. And now it's happening, man. Give me your on Fight Week now that we're here. Does it feel are you getting the vibes? Are you kind of feeling excited? You know?
Without a doubt. I mean, it's a major fight, regardless if it is the right opponent or not. Yeah, no, definitely. I've been watching the embeddeds. I watched the countdown. We were keeping up with the weigh-ins because they're going on right now as we're doing this. We're doing this on fucking Friday, guys.
I've had a rough schedule this week with work and everything. So yeah, no. Folks. I
mean, to kind of talk about the fight itself, man. I mean, look, there's still questions on. There's a lot of questions on both sides. Stipe hasn't competed in a few years. He's coming off two losses.
So he lost to Ngannou, but prior to that, he had beaten DC in the trilogy back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Which, goddamn, 2020 was his last win.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah.
We have questions about Jon. Like, how is Jon truly as a heavyweight? That's a big question right now. We've only seen him be a heavyweight for 2 minutes.
2 minutes of some change, yeah.
So, I mean, let's see. Let's see if Stipe can answer the call and test Jon and see what Jon is at a heavyweight. I think that's important. Stipe came in a little heavy for this one. I don't have to wait for Jon. I'll try to look it up here in a minute. But, I mean, Josh, I'm going to go the safe route. I think it's a safe route. I'm going to go Jon Jones on this one. I think he gets it done. I can see a ground and pound finish. I don't necessarily see a straight knockout on the feet.
Yeah.
I think Jon, by the way, Gordon Ryan going to be in the corner. He brought in Gable Stevenson. Like, clearly he's working on his wrestling a lot. So that it seems like that's going to be the route he's trying to go. I'm kind of curious. I wonder why he's trying to minimize the exchanges on the feet. I guess he doesn't want to take any heavyweight shots. Maybe from being in camp and doing some sparring from heavyweights, he's like, you know something, I need to limit the shots. I know where I can win the fight, and I'm assuming that's the ground. And I'm predicting a ground and pound TKO.
Ground and pound TKO, man, that's interesting. So now look, I'm really conflicted on this fight, and for a long time I was like, man, this fight's kind of bullshit. It obviously shouldn't be happening.
Okay. Got to wait for Jon. Jon weighed in at 237.
So what is that? 10 pounds lighter than his first fight at heavyweight. I thought he weighed in at 248. Serial, as Jon would call him, serial game.
He went in at 248 for that fight.
That's what I thought. Wow. So okay, that's interesting. Stipe with a 10-pound weight advantage. Look, this fight's interesting to me because I'm somebody that a few years ago, remember John, for new MMA fans that may not know, John's been talking about heavyweight for as long as I've been watching. He's been talking about finally moving to heavyweight since about 2014 or so, 2013. Never ended up doing it. But I remember the closest he got was 2018. There were talks that apparently he was allegedly, after beating DC at UFC 214, he was maybe going to turn around and fight Stipe at heavyweight. I think at UFC 218, the shot ended up going to Ngannou because Jones failed another drug test after beating DC. So it didn't end up happening. And I remember thinking at the time, man, Stipe really is the perfect style matchup to defeat Jon Jones. Bigger guy, naturally bigger, which is very rare for Jon. And you could argue whether it's styles or just these specific guys, but who has had success against Jon Jones? Guys who are his same size. Think back to Alexander Gustafsson. Think back to Dominic Reyes. Think back to even guys like Ovin St. Preux, but he broke his arm in the second round. But for that first round and a half, he was giving him some trouble. He was tagging him with the left. He was finding ways with the boxing. The issue is, obviously, Stipe Miocic is 42 years old. He's 42 years old, and he hasn't fought in 3.5 years. If this was Stipe Miocic of 2021, I would comfortably pick him against Jon Jones. The issue is that we haven't seen him. And if you think back to whenever he came in, had his entrance in Madison Square Garden last year, and he looked like he could barely, was like he was limping and all that. Now, he's looked fine this fight week and some of the embedded stuff, and he looks fine. But there's too many questions marks around Stipe. I have to go with Jon Jones. But at the same time, man, Jon's coming off his own injuries. The gun to my head, I'm picking Jon Jones.
These guys got miles. Like, they got miles. Like, they got fighter miles on themselves.
Yeah, gun to my head, I'm picking Jon Jones. Man, would I be surprised if Stipe just lands a fucking right straight down the pipe and just floors Jon Jones early?
I can't, dude. It's crazy because it's like
that's the thing.
It's a true reality.
Here's the thing: is like for me, when I think it's a dumb way to predict fights, but there's sometimes like if I can't visualize it happening, I won't pick that guy. Like if I can't visualize a path to victory, I won't pick you. I can see the path to victory for Stipe Miocic. He's a former D1 wrestler. If he can keep that fight on the feet, there's not a question to me he's going to outstrike Jon Jones. Like, that's not really much of a question to me. It's can he keep the fight on the feet? His boxing is excellent, and typically, whenever he struggled, funnily enough, against guys that are kind of short of him, who can kind of get in on the inside. That's not Jon Jones' game. Jon Jones typically likes to fight at distance, throw a lot of kicks, poke your eyes, shit like that.
I think Stipe will benefit from drawing this fight out.
I think so as well. I mean, and he's a guy that you look as what do you knock out DC in the second fight? 4th round? Like, he's a guy that can go late and have that power and have that cardio. That's why I'm saying, like, he does have the style to beat him. It's just 42 and shit, man. The man's been worked last week. I mean, like, that's not even a joke. Like, literally, like he worked last week. He's a full-time firefighter.
By the way, no bullshit. Doesn't he have like a shift like right after this? Like, he's gonna go back to work?
Yeah, he is. He works next week.
Yeah,
dude.
So Stipe is hoping to not get fucked up too bad because he has a shift for the following week.
This is why it's impossible not to love Stipe Miocic, man. Like, blue collar guy.
I was like, you only hated Stipe when he was champ and wouldn't fight.
I did hate Stipe when he was champ for the purpose of him not fighting. It was never like a personal thing, but I'm like, man, you gotta fight. Like, he didn't want to fight Ngannou in 2020. That's why people forget.
I take back those forest fire jokes.
No, I don't take back those. Those were funny. Those are funny. No, but like Stipe, it's impossible not to love a guy. Family man from the Midwest. Got shot him out, right? Like, gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Firefighter. So, but apparently he was shitting on Jon Jones' kids. So I don't know. Apparently he's just a fucking, as Jon Jones says, he's an asshole. So, I'm gonna throw you this real quickly. Do you actually think Jon Jones will retire if he beats Stipe on Saturday?
I think if Stipe wins, they do a rematch. If Stipe loses, he retires. If Jon wins, he does one more fight to Aspinall.
You actually think he'll fight Aspinall?
I think so now because I don't know why Dana would say what he said without there being some sort of possibility of actually happening or potentially setting it up where it could happen. I don't think we're going to get a double retirement on this card, but I'll tell you what. I feel like, I don't know why I have a weird feeling I could see Chandler retiring if he loses, and I could see Stipe retiring if he loses as well.
I think Stipe will retire if he loses. I think Chandler will keep on fighting. Mainly because there's no point in him retiring.
I got a weird feeling though he might. I don't know why.
He might, but
the guy's damn near 40, a lightweight.
He is.
He had a 2-year layoff.
A loss would end his title hopes. But at the same time, you got to think about it, man. Like, he could just like say that he's gonna take some time off and just wait for Conor.
He could, but
I know.
That's
Will
not-
that fight
that-
happen? Will that fight happen? I don't know. But at that point, it's like
Yeah.
you're already saying you're taking your time off anyway. You know what I mean, there's no point in
I mean,
retiring,
John
think.
could retire, dude, but it would feel like it's such a fuck you to everybody. You know what I mean? And granted, that's Jon Jones.
Are
right?
you trying to say that Jon Jones,
it's
Jon Bones Jones, would say "fuck you" to everybody?
I don't see a double retirement though. I think I could see one retiring, but not both.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think both guys are gonna retire.
And I don't know why, but I got this weird feeling about Chandler retiring for some reason after this fight.
I don't think so, man.
There's all I'm gonna say is you better give me my props if I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'd just be surprised.
I just got like a weird feeling. I don't know what it is. There was just something that popped in my head.
But you know what? Let's just go there. Let's go there. Co-main event. Iron Michael Chandler. 2 Iron Mikes competing this weekend. So, just gonna go ahead and say that. 2 Iron Mikes competing this weekend. And the co-main event, Michael Chandler has not competed since a submission loss to Dustin Poirier in the same building that he's competing on Saturday night, Madison Square Garden, back in November of 2022. 2 years later, he's back. He wasted 2 years of his career waiting for Conor McGregor. And it's hard. I'm never somebody who blamed him. Because that's a life-changing payday, and you wait for that.
By the way, he's like 0-3 or 0-4 in MSG.
He's oh my God, you're right.
I don't know if you knew that.
No, you're right. Even dating back to Bellator, because he fought.
Yep.
My God, he fought Brent Primus.
Yep.
Oh shit, you're right.
He's never won. He's never won in New York.
Yeah. So obviously, we'll run it down real quickly. Submission loss to Poirier in November 2022.
First man to ever submit him.
Yep. Unanimous decision loss to Justin Gaethje in one of the greatest fights of all time, November 2021. And then you go back, and then he fights New York 2017. First round stoppage loss to Brent Primus and some Looney Tunes ass shit. Basically, that's the fight. If you guys don't know, where Michael Chandler got hit in the peroneal nerve on his knee or whatever in his leg, and he kept on falling all over himself. Still nearly knocked out Brent Primus. And then they ended up calling it off. They pulled the stool out from under him. Remember that? Yeah, some Looney Tunes ass shit. But here we go, man. Can Michael Chandler redeem himself against Charles do Bronx Oliveira? The Oliveira era. I would say it's restarting, but brother, we never left. Okay,
It never ended, baby.
It never ended. Okay, yeah, man. Charles do Bronx Oliveira has not been seen since a split decision loss to Arman Sarukian in April. That was a UFC lightweight title eliminator. Prior to that, he knocked out Beneil Dariush. Still on the hunt to get back to the goal that he lost in October of 2022. Now 35 years old. These two fought back in May of 2021. As the story goes, Chandler dominated the first round, knocked him down, nearly beat him, had some success. Round 2, though, Charlie Olives goes out there and just lands a brutal shot, puts him out. Now we're back. And at the Mecca, man. I'm more excited for this fight than the main event. It's kind of a title eliminator. I know a lot of people hate that. A lot of people are like, oh, man, you would give Michael Chandler a title shot if he wins. But, like, dude, the UFC feels bad for the guy. You can tell. You know what I mean? Like, it was a huge fight to give him and biggest stage imaginable. And I think Charlie Olives, same deal here, man. I think great rivalry with Makhachev, and who wouldn't love to see a second fight between them?
On top of that, he had the close fight with Saryukin.
Yeah, I mean, he's one good card away from fighting for the title anyway, so we'll see. But look, man, I love this fight. What are you thinking? Are you thinking, can Michael Chandler get it done?
Look, I'll say this always about Chandler. Chandler's a guy who could show up in there and just bomb any guy out of there because he has that ability. He's a dog. He has power. He can wrestle. He's explosive. He's an incredible athlete. I mean, the guy has an incredible self-belief, very aware of himself. He knows himself very well. Oliveira, dude, like the resurgence, the rise, the creation of self-belief into becoming what he did and creating that run and believing he's the champion and wanting to reach that again, because it's not even like there's guys who will lose and they want to get back to the title. They're like, yeah, I'm going to get back to the title. But when Oliveira talks about wanting to fight Makhachev again, I have a different kind of feeling. I have the feeling of like he can do it. He's making me believe it. It's not just
makes you believe.
It's not just that he wants to get back there. It's that he genuinely believes he can get back there and not just be there in that position, but win it again. Look, I'm going to be 100% honest with you on this one. If Chandler goes in there and bombs Oliveira, I will not be surprised. He's not going to submit him. But if he does win, I don't think he'll be on the scorecard. It's going to be a knockout. For Oliveira, I think Oliveira has a number of ways to win. He could submit him. He can knock him out. He's already shown that. And Chandler's, for a while there had never been subbed. He's now been subbed, so we know it could happen. He's not untouchable in that department anymore. And Oliveira can certainly win a 5-round fight. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna go Charles Oliveira. I'm excited for the Oliveira era as always. But
Yes,
dude,
sir.
god damn it, I'm not gonna lie if I'm not gonna be excited for a fucking Michael Chandler Islam Makhachev fight, because the way he talked about wanting to fight Habib and all that, and look, who knows what the fuck would have happened in that fight, could have happened. But look, that'd be the first time we get to see an all-American wrestler facing a Dagestani in the fucking cage like that.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, it's going to be American style, folk style wrestling versus the Dagestani style. And if we get that, I'm not going to fucking complain either way. This would be a banger of the fight. I want 5 rounds of violence, 5 rounds of excitement. Give me it, baby. But we're going to go Oliveira this time around.
That's the way I feel, man. The Oliveira era, it never ended, but it's we're restarting. How about this? This is 2.0.
It's a soft reset.
Soft reset, man. I got Charlie Olives. For me, it comes down to a couple different factors. I'm agree with you. I really do think Michael Chandler, if he goes out there and bombs him out, would I be surprised? No. A lot of guys shit on Michael Chandler. It's kind of become like a fun thing to do on social media because people haven't seen him fight in 2 years. But he has the power from the gods. You can call it steroids. Is he on steroids? Come on. But I mean, I'm not complaining for the record. I want him to be on steroids. Michael Chandler is almost 40 years old. If there's a guy that should be on steroids, it's him. Okay. But I got a lot
By the
of
way, did you already see the accusations on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Is it steroids or is it staff?
Yeah, dude, I don't give a shit. I
know. I mean, I know you don't.
Yeah,
I'm just bringing up.
No, I know. But like, I genuinely don't care. I love it. I love Michael Chandler a lot, man. I've been watching the guy since the Bellator days. He has the power from the gods, but I'd be surprised at all if he goes out there and bombs him out, especially considering the fact that like people like we haven't seen him in 2 years. He's older. At the same time, man, if you're doing nothing but training for 2 years, like you're just sitting with a lot of motivation.
I mean, he's a gym rat.
Yeah,
he's a gym rat, and he's in his mind all the time.
Exactly, and you can tell he's been waiting for this opportunity. Now he has like, it's not what he wanted because
it's his last dance. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's his last dance. There is a backup plan with Conor, but this is his last dance to achieve like
one
of the greatest achievements as a fighter,
which is the UFC, getting back to the UFC title, and he has to beat the guy who stopped him from getting in there in the first place. It's kind of poetry, you know. And in case you're curious, the current line from our friends over at BetMGM, Charlie Olives a -275, Michael Chandler +210. So if you want to go ahead and follow down below, you can actually get up to $1,500 in free bets if you want to put some money on the fight. Contact 1-800-GAMBLER if you have any issues. But look, man, if I was a betting man, I'd go and take Charlie Olives. For me, I think he has more ways to win. He won the first fight, obviously. I don't want to say you can't crack his chin, but it's really fucking tough to crack his chin, especially the way he's been now up at lightweight.
His confidence, his fight style has just gotten better.
Yeah, and he believes in himself right now, man. And you can just tell that, like, he wants to get back to the title. Both these guys are super motivated. I think we're going to get the best version imaginable of this fight. But I think Charlie Olives will leave the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, with his hand raised on Saturday night. Regardless, though, love the fight. And like you said, either we get a rematch between two of the greatest lightweights of all time, or you're getting American style, all American. I mean, dude, from the zoo? Are you shitting me? Michael Chandler?
From the Midwest.
From the Midwest wrestling against Dagestani wrestling.
By the way, if he were to win, he'd complete the trifecta of those guys who he competed. Tyron Woodley, UFC champion. Yeah. Ben Askren, Bellator and 1 champ. And then if he did it, I mean, he's done it in Bellator. But I mean, on top of that, I mean, I guess he's already become champ. I guess I forgot. Yeah. Bellator. But with the UFC on top of that, the fact that all those guys had won in 2 separate, like multiple big promotions, and they did that all going to the same college and under the same like team, dude, holy fuck.
Insane.
Holy fuck.
Insane. Yeah, man. And honestly, that Islam Makhachev fight, I've wanted to see that one for a long time, man. Like, I really do think Chandler, he may not be able to beat like all the guys in the top 10. Obviously, he can't. But dude, just stylistically, man, what would happen if he landed that fucking bomb against Islam Makhachev? We don't know.
And what's gonna happen in the scrambles? What's gonna happen in those exchanges?
Exactly. So I love it. We'll see what happens though on Saturday. He's got to get through Charlie.
God, if it was old school and he won that, dude, imagine if he walked that in the singlet, dude, to the fucking cage. In the Mizzou singlet, Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren in his corner backing him up. Oh, dude. Oh, what a fucking movie.
They fight in St. Louis, his hometown or some shit. I don't know. I'm just pitching ideas. They would never have Islam Makhachev fight in fucking St. Louis, bro.
It'd be in Vegas. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know fucking around. But anyways, man, also on the main card, this is a fight I'm interested in. Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel, we know the story, man. Blue chip prospect, 28 years old, out of Penn State, multiple-time NCAA champion. We're 4 fights deep in the UFC journey, and I feel like we still don't know a lot about him. Obviously, we know he had 2 wins in the Contender Series, both within a minute one of them, minute 2 seconds, and then 52 seconds for the other one. Came to the UFC, he fought Jamie Pickett, Very controversial. People forget controversial submission win where Jamie Pickett didn't tap. He was stuck in an arm triangle for about a minute and a half, and then the referee was like, "Yeah, you're out," and they waved it off. But they didn't get overturned because he's not. Yeah. Jamie Pickett's not Jon Jones. He's not going to get that loss overturned. He knocked out Val Woodburn, who stepped up on like 7 minutes notice, and we were like, "Damn, this guy's kind of." Oh, never mind. And then Cody Brundage, who had some success against Bo Nickel, stuffed a couple takedowns, landed some big shots, ended up getting taken down and submitted anyway in round 2 halfway through. Paul Craig, obviously the biggest test of his career. Former light heavyweight, now 36 years old, down at middleweight. He's lost 4 of his last 5. If you're Bo Nickel, this is the time to fight a guy like Paul Craig. He's even in some of his more recent fights, Brendan Allen dominated him on the mat. You know what I mean? So it's a good matchup for Bo Nickel. I'm going to take him to win. And in case you're curious, current line, he's a minus 1,400 favorite, which I think is a little bit high for a guy that's not fought anybody with a live pulse, really. But at the same time, Paul Craig has looked really rough down at middleweight since moving down. So,
by the way, do you think he wants to? I mean, I think he wants to sub him probably in reality because
yeah,
I think he'd be happy subbing a jiu-jitsu guy. But I have a weird feeling he's gonna knock him out instead.
I think he's probably Bo Nickel has skills on the feet. Like they're not. He's very raw.
They're better than Paul Craig's.
Oh yeah, they're better than Paul Craig's. Like he's very raw, but you can tell.
But I feel like Paul's gonna throw in there though. I have a weird feeling Paul's gonna like. Be on the feet, confident, be like, you know something, I'm gonna stand my ground against this kid. I don't know if it'll be the smartest choice, but I think it'll surprise Bo a little bit too.
Dude, if Paul Craig wins, that'd be sick though. I gotta be honest with you. Him at the press conference, you could see in his eyes like this dude's fucking fire.
He could catch him in a sub. I mean, there's jiu-jitsu guys like there's certain positions, certain situations where wrestling guys get caught by jiu-jitsu guys.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Bo is a different level of wrestler, a higher echelon. Extremely successful collegiate career. He's competed he went to Penn State. I mean, one of the best college wrestling schools in the whole country. So yeah, I mean, he's different.
He is different. He's built different, and I expect him to win. But man, I kind of love it if Paul Craig went out there and just fucked up.
We like chaos here, man. You know,
we really do. And dude, he was wearing the Sopranos shirt at the press.
Tell me the crazy, like, tell me that if Stipe Chandler, Paul Craig won, this wouldn't be the funnest night ever. Like, just out of insanity.
It really would. It really would. Dude, and I liked him at the press conference, man. You could see it in his eyes. He was fired up, and Bo Nickel like made fun of his accent, and he's like, "It doesn't matter if I sound Scottish or American. It doesn't matter whenever you're gonna tap in there, you're gonna tap. It doesn't matter what I sound like."
They've been chirping each other like they got a little animosity going. I don't think it's anything super crazy, but
it's a competitive rivalry.
Yeah, it's a competitive rivalry.
Bo Nickel wants to come through and take what Paul Craig has. Are you gonna let him do it, Paul? You gonna do it? You let somebody come in into your house, take your food?
Is that your damn Josh? Are you Paul Craig's cornerman?
Nah, man. Sometimes they get fired up though. So the good news is the top 3 fights are excellent. Actually, the bad news, the rest of the main card is kind of weird. We got Viviane Ardrero taking on Karine Silva. I mean, Karine Silva, 2 ranked women's flyweights. Karine Silva's won man, she's actually on a nice winning streak, better than I thought. 9 wins in a row, 5 of which have come in the UFC. Taking on Viviane Ardrero, 37 years old. Vivi has lost 3 of her last 4. I'm going to take Karine Silva.
Yeah, and also Viviane Araujo, I think is how to pronounce it.
Fuck yeah.
She, go off, man. If you look at her record, anytime she's kind of stepped up in competition, she's lost.
Yeah.
So you see a little trend there, and if this gal here is able to beat her, she probably has some potential in this division.
I agree. You know what I love, though? I love the main card opener. I'm surprised to put these guys this high up here. But Mauricio Ruffy, man, coming out of the Fighting Nerds. Once again, these guys just running this shit at this point, man.
We had Denise Gomez last week, Carlos Prates this week. We got Mauricio.
Every week we're talking about these dudes, man. He's only fought once in the UFC, but god damn, he murdered Jamie Mullarkey, who, I mean, he's been around the UFC for a long time. Kind of one of those, not really a gatekeeper, but if you beat him, you're worth something. You know what I mean? He went out there and blew him out of there inside of 4 minutes, man. I mean, guy's just impressive. In his second UFC fight now, taking on James Lyontop. Goku is the name, out of Peru. This kid's being fed to the wolves here. I mean, he's lost 2 in a row. Vyacheslav Borshev and Chris Padilla.
And they're doing it at a catch weight to top it off.
Yeah, I mean, this kid's, I don't want to be mean here, but yeah, I mean, he's being fed to the lions. I'm going to take Mauricio Ruffy to go out there and probably get him done inside 1. So, that being said, I like, honestly, man, the structuring of this card is pretty weird, man. I got to say it. I mean, the top 2 fights are incredible. The third one, I get why they put it on.
You could have seen Bo opening it up, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
If there was 2 different fighters you could slot in above.
Yeah, in some of these fights on the prelims, Jonathan Martinez, Marcus McGee, may go down as fight of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, that may be a hot take, but Jonathan Martinez, whenever he's on, he is on, dude. Great kicks, very fun on the feet. Taking on Marcus McGee, one of the greatest underrated stories in the UFC right now, man. A guy that never really thought he was going to get his shot. 34 years old, out of Detroit. And then once he finally got that shot, got signed to the UFC on short notice about a year ago, man, he has just been wrecking dudes. 3 wins, all by finish. And now finally getting a shot at potentially moving into the top 15. It's huge, man.
This is his moment. That's a crazy storyline.
It really is. Another crazy storyline. Chris Weidman back in New York, 40 years old, beat Bruno Silva last time out, controversially, but he did beat Bruno Silva. Prior to that, though, he had obviously the leg break against Uriah Hall. He broke that same leg again against Brad Tavares, who just kicked the shit out of it for 15 minutes. Taking on Eric Anders now, who's, in that stage of his career, 37 now, a veteran.
It's a good fight. I'd say this is a good fight for Chris.
I would agree with that. We'll see how he does, man. Obviously, and then the banger on the other card, Jim Miller, Damon Jackson. I mean, 2 veterans are just going to go out there and fucking slug it out, man. I love that shit, dude. Like, that's a good fight, man, up at lightweight. I'd love to see Jim Miller back, man. I mean, I'm happy. He fought for, years just in the Apex. He was kind of like the Apex guy, it felt like. It was like, oh, man, fuck, we don't know who to put on this card. There's not a lot of big names. There's not a lot of veteran shit. Where's Jim Miller at, in the past.
If this isn't a war, I'll be shocked.
Going back to the last 4 years, he's fought on 1 pay-per-view. Yeah, if you don't count UFC 300, which was this year. Prior to that, UFC 276 when he stepped up on short notice to fight Cowboy Cerrone.
What year was that?
2022. So he's had 1 pay-per-view in the last 4 years.
And prior to that?
Well, prior to that, he was 252, and then, but he fought more frequently, probably once a year on a pay-per-view.
I got you.
So he's basically been the Apex guy. But now he's back-to-back pay-per-views, man. They're kind of showing him some respect now, 41 years old. Love me some Jim Miller. Very winnable matchup against Damon Jackson. He could easily lose, but they're going to go out there and slug it out for 15 minutes. We're going to see what happens. David Onama back against Roberto Romero. Love that fight.
That poor kid's coming on short notice, man.
Yeah. I mean, I love
He's really young. He's 24, I think.
I love the fight because of David Onama. I mean, I feel bad for our poor friend here, Roberto.
Yeah, he's a young kid. I mean, credit. He's taking the opportunity, but David Onama's a tough out.
It is. And then on the early prelims, we're looking at Marcin Tybura, Johnson Deniz. Johnson was supposed to fight Derek Lewis. We still don't know what happened to Derek Lewis. But, that's a short notice fight. We'll see how he does. Mickey Gall back, New York's finest, who's going to make you feel old as shit, Angel. He's 32 years old now.
I know.
Fuck me, right? Even though the record's 7-6, but 7-6 for every single fight being in the UFC is not bad. And he's beaten some good names. Had a competitive fight with Mike Perry. He's beaten some good names. We'll see what he does, man. Taking on Ramiz Bramaj. So another New York guy. So we'll see. And then also Basil Hafez, Oban Elliott.
Banger.
Oh my God.
Banger.
How
Oban
are you
Elliott,
having
good.
those guys is the second fight of the night? That's insane to me, dude.
I mean, they'll prove why they shouldn't have been the second fight of the night.
Damn straight, brother.
That's a hard fight for both guys.
Yo, yeah. That's a great fight, though. I love that fight, man. And then Veronica Hardy opening up the card against
again
Eduardo Mora. Dude, ever since she got married to Dan Hardy, ever since then, 3 wins in a row. She's really brought it back, man. She's really brought it back.
But it'll be cool to see Dan Hardy in the corner, though.
It is. It's always nice to see Dan, man. The way they fucked him over just makes me upset. I mean, him yelling at Herb Dean, man.
It'd be nice to have him around, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that he's in the PFL, man, because the PFL just wastes his talents. I think he's still the best analyst in the game.
Granted, though, he does a great job over there. He's putting a supreme amount of effort over there.
Oh, no, he is. It's just it's kind of a waste of his skill set. I really feel like he's genuinely, arguably the greatest analyst in the game. Great commentator, and he's, they fired his ass.
He had a really good breakdown a few years ago. I can't remember against who, but I remember watching it. I was like, God damn.
Yeah. We'll see, though, man. I mean, I like this card a lot, man. Would I have loved to see Tom Aspinall in his position instead of Stipe Miocic? Yeah. Genuinely. And that's no shade against Stipe because he's a legend. But, man, I would have loved to see, Tom get that opportunity. But still, we'll see what happens. And we'll know by this weekend what's going to happen. We'll know soon. As far as what the future is for that whole main event, the co-main event. But man, now that we're getting to the fights, you know what, man, I'm kind of fired.
We're here. We're here.
Now that we're here, it's damn, I could imagine Stipe just throwing a straight fucking right and just flooring him, dude. Weirder things have happened. I'm just saying, weirder things have happened. I'm trying to get people to buy into the narrative, I'm trying to push it. You know, because I still do think Stipe's got a shot.
A little bit of manifestation right out there.
A little bit of manifestation, man. And seeing him in like the what is it, the pre-fight, like the poses or whatever, you kind of get to see their physiques. It's like, dude, he's in great shape.
Just you wait, Josh. We'll come back next week and we'll have the Croatian flag, the Scottish flag, and a Mizzou flag hung up on this wall.
Dude, if we get the trifecta of Paul Craig, Michael Chandler, and Stipe Miocic winning, I'm going to church. That's fucking, you know, throw Mike in there. I mean, I'm gonna become a pastor, brother. I mean, we might as well bump down and talk about it, man. Arguably the bigger fight of the weekend, right? I think
it's the biggest event of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a global event. That's why.
Unfortunately, it's a global event.
You know what I heard someone say that I really like? They're like, this is either going to be elderly abuse or the right amount of violence.
Yeah, I'll put it like that. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, we're here. We're here. It's time.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's a fight that is going to happen. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, live on Netflix in front of 65,000 fans, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Man, I'm almost, now that it's here, I'm almost on a loss for words because it's not a fight I want to see happen. But now that it's here, and like I don't know how you feel about this, but I kind of like alternate when thinking about this fight. I kind of like alternate minute by minute. I'm like, man, like, you know what? Mike's bigger than him. Like he is a former heavyweight champion.
He's got that boxing vision.
He's got the boxing vision, man. There's some things you can't teach from a lifetime of boxing. Like Jake's been doing this shit for 4 years now, right? Like when was his first fight? I mean, I guess 2018, 6 years, you know. But still, Mike's got the lifetime of boxing.
Dude, he had a whole amateur career and then a pro career.
He has boxed. He know, like, Mike Tyson's forgot more about boxing than Jake Paul will ever know in his lifetime, you know?
As long as Jake has been alive, that's how much of a boxing career Mike has had.
Exactly. And let's talk about this, the age difference. We talked about this.
31 years?
31 years age difference. The largest age gap for any professional boxing match ever. Ever in the history of the fucking sport.
You remember when we did that research? I didn't even know that. You remember when we were looking into
that's because the fight was supposed to happen in the summer, and Mike was going to be fucking 57, and he was going to be 30, and he was still the biggest record ever. You know. Now let's talk about the age real quickly. Because of Mike Tyson's age, the rules are a little bit different. 2-minute rounds, 14-ounce gloves. It's not an exhibition. It'll go on the pro records because Texas doesn't give a fuck.
God, it's going on the pro record.
You didn't know that?
No, I know, but it's just like hearing it out loud from you and just, it's like, dude, it's kind of like how Conor is on Floyd's record, but in a different way.
Yeah. It's going to go on their records, man. It's a real professional fight. And that's Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean, I've kind of bought in. I've watched the Netflix kind of little preview. They did a two episode preview series where they kind of showed a lot of their training camps. And Mike looks good. Like, I'll say this, for a 58-year-old man, Mike Tyson is not a normal 58-year-old man. If you pull the normal 58-year-old man on the street, and I even see people comparing him to Evander Holyfield, and I'm like, dude, not the same thing. Evander Holyfield came in on a week's notice, people forget, to fight Vitor Belfort. We're supposed to be Oscar De La Hoya.
TRT Vitor.
He stepped up on a week's notice, and he fought him, and he got his shit beat out of him. You know what I mean? At the same time, though, Evander Holyfield, people don't know this. I don't know, like, if the average person knows. Like, Mike Tyson retired before, like, he had some bad beatings. You think of the first Holyfield fight. You think of, obviously, the war with Buster Douglas. You think of him getting knocked out by Lennox Lewis. Outside of those fights, he really didn't take a lot of damage in his career. You think about the loss of Danny Williams. So it's kind of him. He got injured, and then he got stopped. You know, it happens. You think of the loss to Kevin McBride. He was up on the scorecards, and he got shoved down. He's like, you know, man, fuck this shit. I'm 38. I don't want this anymore. You know what I mean? He's not taking a lifetime of damage. Evander Holyfield's got the shit beat out of him so many times. The Riddick Bowe trilogy, the fight with George Foreman, so on and so forth. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but we did see a 58-year-old Evander Holyfield get stopped by TRT Vitor. TRT Vitor was 17 years older than Jake Paul is going to be on Friday night. So if you have to make a prediction, like if this is an actual fight, if this is not like a half in, half out exhibition type fight, Jake Paul is going to go out there and dog walk him. I hate to say it. He's going to beat him probably easily within the first 4 rounds. Maybe Mike's going to have a moment or two. He may drop him. We may get like some theatrics in there. It wouldn't be surprised me at all if Mike Tyson lands just a short left hook or something on the inside and just he bombs on him.
Just gets that right timing, that right moment,
Like,
the perfect spot.
You see their sparring footage, and you're like, oh, Mike's still fucking quick. Like he still has that speed
for his age. He's quick for his age.
He's quick for his age, but you kind of saw in the open workouts, which was the first time we're seeing him fight in a non-edited session, and he looks old.
I feel like people need to rewatch the training footage from a few years ago when he was getting ready for Roy and compared to now. It's different.
Yeah.
People don't want to admit it to themselves, but it is different. Like he has slowed down. It's just a reality. The guy is elderly. It's just a fact of life.
And once you're in, this is what everybody says. Like whenever you're in your 50s, it's one thing to be in like your 40s. If Mike Tyson's 45, this isn't even a question. It's not a fucking question. He's gonna rock his shit. If Mike Tyson is 50, he wins. If Mike Tyson is 54, like when he fought Roy Jones, he wins. But the reality is, whenever you're in your 50s, you age like you're in dog years, man. And we saw him literally at a health emergency like 4 fucking months ago. Like I think it was more like 6 months ago now. But you get my point here. Like he's a 58-year-old man, and I know people get mad at me whenever I say that. But I think people, it's not disrespect. It's just his age.
Yeah, I think people don't realize too. Like they think we're just comparing him to every other 58-year-old. Like the guy is a unicorn. I work with the elderly. I've worked with people around his age. You know, I've seen all sides of it. I've seen really healthy 58-year-olds. He's special. He's special. He's not like everybody else.
Yeah.
But there's limitations on the human body, man. You can only do so much. You can only he's probably, no bullshit. In this fight, he'll probably maximize what a man his age can do with his ability.
Yeah.
And with his extra bit of whatever his has in his mentality and his knowledge and his boxing ability.
Yeah.
And hopefully for him, he can make a good account of himself. He doesn't get hurt. And, you know, and maybe in reality, he comes out with the win too. You know what I mean? But it's going to be damn fucking hard being in there with a young cat like that who not even that long ago, there wouldn't have even been a shadow of a doubt if he could have done it.
Yeah. And that's the thing to me too, is like, they talked about this fight happening right after like they both fought on the same card in 2020. You know what I mean? It's like this fight's been in talks for years now. And Jake just had to age him out even more. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't, like he just, like you couldn't fight him when
he took a book out of Floyd.
Yeah, you couldn't fight him when he was 55, motherfucker. You had to wait until he was 58 years old, bro. Like, I mean, look, if it's like I said, if it's an actual fight, Jake's going to beat him. And in case you guys are curious, let me actually pull it up real quickly. God, because I want to get the line right before I.
But would you be shocked if Mike won? Like if he went out there and fucking knocked out Jake?
I would be. God, I mean,
it's complicated, right?
That's what I said to you, dude. If Mike Tyson goes out there and wins, I'm going to church, dude. Because like that, like that'd be a unreal feat.
By the way, I hate that someone stole this comparison from me, and I'm going to steal it from Morning Combat. BC said it. This is like Rocky Balboa.
Oh yeah, it's literally Rocky versus Mason the Lion Dixon, dude. It's literally.
I mean, granted. To be honest, to clarify, Mason Dixon in the movie is like a fucking champion in the movie.
Yeah, so it's a little bit. Different.
It's a significantly harder fight for Balboa.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I think Rocky was actually 60. Like Mike's like 58.
Yeah, like the thing is, this is a fucking movie, dude. Like this guy is trying to do what fucking Rocky Balboa did, but IRL, dude.
Yeah,
no fucking bullshit. Like same thing. Even fucking bringing up his kids, just like Rocky Balboa. Like there's a whole storyline in Rocky about him and his son. On the side, on top of him trying to get ready, dealing with the growing pains, thinking about his past and all that shit. Fucking Mike Tyson's going to the same shit, like talking about his kids, talking about cuss, talking about previous fights, talking about legacy. Like, it is kind of scary how similar it is. And by the way, Rocky Balboa, hell of a fucking movie.
One of my favorite ones, actually. Yeah, I think it might be my second favorite Rocky movie.
And look, you've watched Rocky Balboa. Hopefully we get a similar ending because at the end of that, he doesn't come out fucked up. Or not too fucked up in the sense of he didn't get fucking obliterated. But at least he walked away with a win and with the cheers. And if we can get a happy moment like that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And if he can win, it could be even bigger than fucking that.
If he goes the distance, it's a win. Like if he goes to like the scorecard.
You know what's crazy? I mean, it's just like the movie, like the song, Going the Distance.
Yeah.
It's fucking poetic.
It really is.
It's in the movie. It's in the name.
It really is. And here's the thing, man. It's like for Mike Tyson, this is really, I mean, I've watched so many interviews throughout this whole thing. Not because I give a shit about the fight. Like I hate Jake Paul. But I'm not going to lie with you, man. Like I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan. I think anybody who grew up around, anybody who's given a fuck about sports in general is a huge fan. If you care about combat sports, you're a huge fan. Like I grew up watching like Mike Tyson highlight clips. You know what I mean? Watching that shit. And then going out to my gym with my shitty heavy bag, trying to do like the, you know, the bob and weave style,
fucking Dempsey roll on the fucking heavy bag.
Exactly. Fucking up my knees, doing all the bob and weave
You're
shit.
back, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, man, like I love Mike Tyson. And you could see like this, he's very introspective. And seeing a lot of his interviews this week, he doesn't need the money. Like I see a lot of people are like, oh, does he need the money? He doesn't need the money. Mike Tyson's well off. His weed business is killing it. Very successful.
He has a lot of investments. He's in a better place mentally.
He doesn't need this. For him, this is something he wants to do. And it's something that I think for him, this is a full circle moment. For him, it's easy to think, like he was a pariah in boxing. If you go back to the 90s, if you think back to the Holyfield fight, if you think about whenever for the second half of his career, he was a pariah. Like he tried to fight Lennox Lewis at the press conference and literally got that fight almost canceled because he fought and got banned of the state of Nevada. That's why they fought in that fucking pyramid out in the middle of Tennessee. Like
that's badass.
Yeah, which kind of cool. But now about Pro Shop, by the way, which is hilarious. Yeah, like they had the huge venue. And they're just like, fucking man, what should we do with it?
The guys also live like 4 or 5 lives, and they've all been crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see like he's been very introspective this week. If he goes out there and puts on a good performance, he doesn't even need to win. I'll consider it a win.
That's a dub. That's a dub.
Yeah,
that's a dub.
You see him talking to that kid though.
Yeah,
the interview with the kid, and it's like Mike Tyson. Don't interview Mike Tyson during fight week, brother, because it's just she was like,
don't fuck with Mike Tyson during fight week either.
No. I mean, he slapped the shit out.
I'll fuck you till you love me. I can't say the rest of it.
No, you cannot. But he slapped.
Scared. That's okay.
He slapped Jake Paul at the weigh-ins earlier in that day. He's getting interviewed by like a 9-year-old, and she's like, "So, Mike, for kids my age, what do you want your legacy to be?" He's like, "I don't give a fuck about legacy. I don't like fucking." Whenever you die, you dust. It doesn't matter. It's what it is.
Him in kill mode is terrifying.
Why do you give a fuck if people remember you? I don't give a fuck if people remember me. It's just like, well, Mike, that's a 9-year-old, brother. I mean, like, did you forget who you're talking? Maybe after the Hasbulla thing, he just thinks all small people, like, they're just fucking with him. Maybe. We're gonna talk a little bit about the undercard. Not much though. Coming event, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano.
Insane fight. Insanely big fight. It's going to be so fun to watch.
The first fight back in, I think, April 2022 in MSG. One of the greatest, in my opinion, I think probably the greatest women's fight I've ever seen. I mean, just back and forth for 10 rounds, high speed, high volume. Katie Taylor, I believe, won by split decision. We'll see how they run it back here. Amanda Serrano could easily win this fight, especially given the fact that Katie Taylor, people forget, man, 38 years old. 38.
Serrano's 36, so people are going to, I feel like people are going to use that as an excuse. It's a 2-year age gap. They're pretty close in age.
That's true. But she's coming off. I mean, she lost to Chantel Cameron. She went back and got a very controversial decision win. She's had back-to-back very close fights. We'll see how, I think
Serrano's staying red hot, though.
No, she is. She's been killing it.
I mean, she's an all-time great. I mean,
they're both all-time greats. Like, it's a great fight. It genuinely is. So I love it, man. I love it. Mario Barrios, Abel Ramos. I love that fight, man. I'm a big Mario Barrios guy. Now that he's back up at welterweight, like he looks healthy. Like I remember when he was fighting down there. He fought Gervonta Davis down at super weight drain, but still put on a great fight. Keith Thurman, similar thing.
Also, dude, he lost to Keith Thurman, but like, look at what happened to Keith Thurman like a fight or two later.
Keith Thurman's still a dog, man. He really is. But yeah, I mean, Mario Barrios is moving up to welterweight. He beat Yordenis Ugas. He looks great, man. I mean, now I believe WBC, full champion. WBC full champion. Did you see Jake Paul at the press conference like talking shit
to everybody?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, do you not realize Mario Barrios could put you in a fucking coffin, bro? I mean, I hate to be that guy.
Not even just that, dude. If all of them stood up.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was talking shit to Bruce Carrington, who's going to fight on the prelims. It's like, bro, that guy's a featherweight, man. But, like, Mario Barrios would actually fuck up your whole day, bro. Like, I know that you think you're good, but, like, Mario Barrios is, I mean, fuck, dude. Jesus. Anyway, so. And then we also got Narij Gorat, Whindersson Nunes. I like we're having one freak show fight on the card.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like, they just threw that one in there. No fucks to give.
By
the way, do you think JJ is going to watch this and be like, yeah, you're next?
Maybe, dude. He might.
He's going to get him out of his bunker and be like, yeah, JJ, let's go.
Yeah, Whindersson Nunes. Yeah, he's had a couple fights.
I still think that's one of the biggest fights to make. Now, granted, I don't think it'll be bigger than this, but it'd be like number 2.
No, I agree. Yeah, Narij Gorat is that Indian dude who really wanted to fight Jake. He's fought Jose Zepeda. He normally fights down at lightweight, and he's stepping up to fight at super middleweight. So
they had to meet somewhere in the middle, right?
They did have to meet somewhere in the middle, man. I believe he fights at lightweight. I don't want to get that wrong, actually. Let me just double check. Fights at welterweight, actually. I apologize, but so the guy that normally fights at like 140 pounds, stepping up to fight at 168. So kind of a big deal, but we'll see what happens, man. And the rest of the card, Shadiza Green, and a couple other names like that.
That girl obliterates women.
No, that's it. And she's fighting a woman that I believe very good amateur background, Belinda Watpool out of Canada. 35 years young. The Whip. Yeah, great amateur background. That one should be fun for the WBO super middleweight women's title.
So it's not a terrible card.
No, it's actually a very good card.
They constructed it pretty well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Though. Should be a lot of action. Before we go and move on, I just want to ask, what are you more excited for? Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, or Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic?
Dude, it's gonna sound fucked up, but I'm not gonna lie. This Mike shit has grown on me just because of the storyline and kind of like when it got presented to me as like Rocky Balboa. I'm kind of like, fuck, this is like a whole different show now for me.
Yeah, it really.
It's also gonna be the biggest event in the world that night. Like,
yeah,
dude, they could be event of the year. I've already told Josh, I think Netflix is gonna fucking crash. Because it's gonna be, if you have a Netflix account, you'll be able to watch this.
Exactly. And dude, have people in your personal life talked to you about this? Because they know same for me too. And it's like, dude, like. And they all think Mike Tyson's gonna fuck him up. And I'm like, yeah, throw some. Not even
just that, but people who don't watch fighting at all. Like I had some gal from work bringing it up to me, like just randomly. She doesn't even know I do this shit.
Yeah, dude, it's huge. It's huge. Nonetheless, man, we have a few small subjects to kind of talk about here as far as news, but we won't hold you guys too long. It's a big week. First up, man, this one flew under the radar, but I do want to talk about it. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, has not been seen since a June knockout loss to Zhilei Zhang. Big Bang put him out pretty easily. Before that, he got dominated by Joseph Parker. Those two losses stopped him from fighting Anthony Joshua, man. Like, they had the fight deal. It was signed, brother. It was done. And he just couldn't win. Well, afterwards, people called for him to retire, including his own mother. People didn't even know this. His own mother released a statement like, please, like, you've had a great life. Like, you've had a great run, but it's time, you know? He said, fuck that. He said, I'm gonna keep on fighting. 39 years old now. He said that of all the fights he wants Francis Ngannou. Not because of a disrespect thing. He said in the interview, he talked a lot about Ngannou's son. He sent him well, but he's like, man, I think that's a fight I want to get him to talk to again. I think we could put on a great fight. Give me your interest level, man. I mean, Ngannou came off a knockout win over Renan Fahea, obviously last month in Saudi Arabia. 0-2 in boxing, but we know the story there. I mean, obviously, debatably beat Tyson Fury. He got murdered by Joshua whenever he actually stepped up for Deontay Wilder in March. Both guys struggling, but I think it could be a huge fight. I personally, give me it. What do you think?
Give me it. Feed it to me on a platter.
Yeah, you want MMA, or you want to do like a 2-fight deal still? Because they were talking about that, or you just want to see?
I mean, if they want to do that, sure. People complain about that, but I'm like, dude, if it happens, just guarantee it to me in boxing. Yeah. I want to see Francis go back in there again.
I do want to see Francis go back in there again. I want to see him get redemption, and even see, because I love both these guys. For me, I think this is one of those fights for like cool with either guy.
Also, like MMA would look good, but dude, boxing feels grand.
Yes. Like, there's something about boxing. Like, here's the thing, man. American boxing is in a really, really bad state. Like, Turkey Al-Sheik's coming through and making big fights, but it's not really that. If you look at the networks, right? Like, so many are moving out of boxing. Like, just in the last few years, Fox moved out of boxing. Showtime's moved out of boxing. HBO's moved out of boxing. You're hoping that ESPN stays around. You know what I mean? You're hoping that DAZN stays around, and so on and so forth. Because if not, it's like, God, where are you going to be? You know? But there's something still grand about boxing, and seeing Ngannou like go in there and drop Tyson Fury and arguably beat him, and even in the Joshua fight, just seeing him in there, it's like, man, that's so cool that we got our boy in there, and I love to see this fight, man. I mean, it sells itself. Is Deontay Wilder old and washed? Yeah, but is he still like arguably the hardest puncher in the entire history of the fucking sport? Yeah, like he's a 6'7" motherfucker out of Alabama that takes one punch to put you to sleep, versus the hardest hitter for MMA that like arguably beat the heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, like, or former heavyweight champion of the world.
A guy that people were calling the GOAT of heavyweight.
Yeah, which was dumb, but some people were saying. So, yeah, man. And shit, dude. I mean, he performed better against Fury than Wilder did in most of their fights. So,
dude, you're not even like. Granted, those were some fucking bangers. There was a lot to those.
The third one, yeah.
But you're not even wrong. Like, he gave him a good fucking run for his money.
Yeah. So, man, we'll see what happens. But if you're the PFL, this is a layup. Look, I understand that, like, you want Ngannou to fight in MMA, but it's like, dude,
you got to let that shit happen.
You let that shit happen, dude. Because also, like, maybe they'll do a 2-fight deal.
Not even just that, but on the upside, what if Francis does win?
Then your boy is not only your PFL, he's gonna be wearing that PFL heavyweight title at those fucking press conferences. You know what I mean? Like, that's good promotion, man. Like, yeah, I hope they book it. I love that fight. Ngannou Wilder. We've been talking about this. Because remember, the whole thing is that he was either going to fight Fury or Wilder. And then he signed the deal with Fury. So, because he, was obviously the champion at the time. So it's like a bigger deal. But man, if you can get a Wilder fight, that's still huge in Turkey. Turkey Al-Sheikh, brother. We got to get you on the pod. I'll pitch it to you. I'll give you the pitch. I don't care where you do it. It could be in Africa. It can be in Saudi. It can be in California. It could be in fucking Gary, Indiana, for all I care. Okay? just give me the fight. Hardest punchers of all time. It sells itself. Give it to me. And you can thank me later, Turkey, whenever we hop on Discord or whatever. Play Undisputed, man. No, jokes aside, I saw that he also bought the Ring magazine, and he's bringing back print edition. And I'm like, God, what a guy. Like,
he likes the sport.
He does. It's just a pure passion project. And look, man, like I said,
dude, did you hear he's actually trying to resurrect Edwin Valero too?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know I had to get
He's
one.
He's going to fight Carlos Monzon in a catchweight, man. He's just Hell in a Cell match, actually. Yeah.
What the fuck? Chris Benoit? When did he show up in all this?
Chris Benoit, what are you doing here? Like,
whoa!
Officiated by fucking Riddick Bowe, dude. Like, oh my God.
Jesus, we're going to hell.
Aiki Achibuchi on the undercard as well. So, yeah. Anyways. And I think we should go and move on. Funnily enough, a guy that's also been linked to Francis Ngannou
Crazy.
is Rugrug. Rugrug is
Umar
Kane is the one heavyweight champion. Man, they had a big card on Friday night, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday
this
night.
This past Friday.
Yeah, Friday night. It was really supposed to be the one in Atlanta. They moved it back to Thailand, so can't get everything you want. But anyways, I did get one thing I wanted, and that's Rugrug is heavyweight champion. Ends up winning a controversial decision over Anatoly Malikin, but I ended up watching the fight the next day. I thought no issues with the decision. It was a close fight. Obviously, he had a point deducted as well, so it's kind of like easily see how Rugrug pulled off the win. Afterwards, he gets on Instagram, calling for the Rumble in the Jungle with Francis Ngannou. Book that shit in Africa. Look, dude.
That's another layup for the PFL, dude.
Exactly. Dude, if you're the PFL,
you got options.
The biggest issue is honestly not PFL. It's one championship. It's Chatri.
No bullshit, bro. Like Jack Harlow said, I got options. No bullshit.
If you're Chatri, man, you book it. But at the same time, he was also, people forget this, he was shit talking Ngannou too. He was one of the guys that like built that whole.
Well, dude, we were talking about Malikin versus Ngannou before this.
Exactly. But I'm more excited for Rugrug, man. I'm not gonna lie with you.
Well, dude, two African kings, man.
You can book that shit in Africa. Dude. It's such a layup, and they won't do it. Like PFL, one championship. Collaborate with one another.
By the way,
find a way to book it in Africa. You're gonna beat the UFC to it, even though they want to do it now. Dude, it's so fucking funny. They had 3 black African champions, and they're like, "No, we're gonna go with the white guy."
Oh, well, I was gonna say,
so
congratulations to Rugrug. He also now became the first ever Senegalese MMA champion.
Oh man!
And then on top of that, probably the most successful Senegalese MMA fighter. So,
oh wow!
I know it's like a very niche specific thing, but that's a pretty fucking cool thing, man.
That's sick, man. I guess I never really thought about it, but yeah, you're totally right.
So he gets to represent his country like that. He also gets to represent the sport that originates in this country, which is that Senegalese wrestling, which is the background that he was discovered in, and all those videos you've ever seen of him out there, kind of like in these like dust kind of areas, surrounded in a circle by people where he's wrestling. That's that. So an honor for him to show that other martial art that isn't known about, that other style, to the world.
It's an insane, man. That's insane when you really think about it, man. Both these guys have insane stories. Both come from Africa. Both had to work their ass off to get to be.
Also, the guy was built. His career was built up in one. Like most of his fights are in one. He only had one fight.
Yeah. And man, he's never. And by the way, he's never a guy that, like, no offense to him, I never thought he was going to be anything. I thought he was going to be like a fun guy. I thought he was going to be like, funnily enough, he fought him in a second fight, Alain Nagalani, just a fun guy. Like, not a guy that's going to do anything actually of substance. But, dude, just the past 2 years, he's really brought us together.
Well, dude, he now has a win over Marcus
Almeida. Yeah. Buchecha.
Marcus Buchecha. He's in a med. And then Anatoly Malikin.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty fucking good wins to have under your belt, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely insane, man. Absolutely insane. I remember after that Buchecha fight, a lot of people were like, damn, Buchecha's just not cut off for MMA. It's just not a good fit.
And Buchecha...
Nah, man, Umar King's that motherfucker, dude. Yeah, Buchecha, and he also on the same card.
He came off a big win.
Yeah, submitted. I want to get it. Amirov Bali. So good win for him. Now also a free agent. So we'll see if Buchecha goes to the UFC. I think,
or PFL,
or who God knows where. I mean, there's not really
M1 Global.
I mean, there's also
just talking about.
Yeah, I honestly don't know where else.
Ryzen, I doubt
Ryzen, but I'd be shocked. Look, man, if you're the PFL, you have a layup. You can go either the Deontay Wilder route or you can go the Rugrug route. Either way, it's a win-win, I think, because you can book either one of those fights. Book it in Africa. You can go out there. You could do unique things. You have to provide an alternative. If you're the alternative to the UFC, don't just do the normal shit, man. go co-promote with one championship, which I think will be the way bigger issue. Because Chatri, like I said, people forget this. He was the guy that was playing in. Wow, we'll see. That's gonna be cinema. But yeah, man. I mean, we saw back in the day whenever that whole Ngannou's not easy to work with. Chatri played into that. He was like, yeah, man, we tried to talk to him, we couldn't even get a deal, yada yada yada. You know, so I don't know. We'll see.
It's starting. By the way, I'm showing Josh. John, after the weigh-ins, went into the weigh-in show, and DC's on the couch talking to John, and it's getting a little heated.
John and DC, man, that rivalry's never gonna die.
God, I love it. I fucking love
and the
it.
reason, let's go ahead and say this: the reason why, they're going back and forth was because Jon Jones went out there and said that Stipe Miocic said some shit about his kids, and he did not. He did not. He said an offhanded remark about how at least my kids will never look at me like an asshole. And John took that about himself, which, you know, if you don't want your kids to look at you like an asshole, you shouldn't beat the shit out of your fiance in front of them in a hotel room to the point to where there's blood all over the room, you fucking asshole. It's that simple. Don't do it. It feels like John has even less self-awareness now than he did earlier in his career, which is saying a lot.
I'm curious to see how he parties after this.
I mean, he said to DC, "You're another one of these fighters who hate me for no reason at all." John, you failed more drug tests than like I don't know. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I made it very clear my thoughts about Jon Jones, and it's like you're ducking Tom Aspinall. I mean, you could find you could do a fucking 70-page list of reasons why people don't like Jon Jones, man. So I don't know. We'll watch that whole thing whenever we get off here. But regardless, we're one last subject to talk about, also related to one championship. Funnily enough, Mikey Musumeci, who's long been one of my favorite guys that have won. I mean, obviously he doesn't fight in MMA, purely submission grappler. But dude's just peeled out of his fucking tree, and he's also a straight up entire nerd.
Also, he only eats pizza and pasta, and
he's straight up. And I say this as somebody who's totally on the spectrum. He's on the spectrum, buddy. Like,
it's a known thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, is he officially?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to get it wrong. But point being, Mikey Musumeci is a dog, just an absolute one of the greatest submission grapplers on the planet. We heard like a week ago that he was no longer with one championship. He left on good terms. We did not. I feel like I'm talking with I'm doing a Trump impression right now. I'm using my hands too much. Mikey Musumeci, anyways. So yeah, Mikey Musumeci, one of the greatest grapplers on the planet. He left one championship under good terms. We didn't know why. Dana White announced last night, just went out there, dropped his nutsack on the table, and said, "Yo, we're officially signing Mikey Musumeci to the first ever exclusive UFC grappling contract."
He also said he's going to aggressively go after more guys,
which is sick, dude.
So
that's good news.
I'm assuming maybe Nicky Rod, Gordon Ryan, super fight.
Yeah, it's a good thing and a bad thing because I kind of really wanted to see CGI come through here and
just fuck shit. I mean,
fuck shit up.
They still are.
They will. Yeah, but if it's true that the UFC is going after these guys and they want to start their own well, I mean, they already have their own.
Granted, Dana's been a little bit more loose with grappling stuff, so you could see Mikey compete at, I think still at an ADCC, IBGGF, or a Craig Jones Invitational.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll kind of limit guys in that department.
I agree. But still, though,
in that same regard, though, talking about that in that same press conference, he said that he will be mentioning who will be headlining and main eventing 310 this week. We do not have this in the rundown, Josh. I wanted to bring it up before we forget.
Well, yeah, by the time this gets released, they're probably going to know.
We'll probably, yeah. But we'll talk about it now, though, because we could still kind of, make a clip out of it or something.
So, I mean, who do you think?
I mean, the current rumor, it sounds like Kamaru Usman has fallen out as a choice. It seems like Ian Machado Gary will be the one to step up, which that leaves Joaquin Buckley in Tampa, I believe, with no opponent. Apparently, I saw a rumor, though, that Kamaru Buckley's a possibility if that's the case, which is weird because it's like,
no. Why
wouldn't Kamaru just take the chance against Shockwell?
I don't believe that.
Regardless, though, whatever does end up happening, because they have to find a replacement for Buckley. Like, they got their hands tied right there.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll scrap that fight.
Oh, man. Look, I don't think it's going to be Ian Gary.
What do you think it's going to be? I also saw Colby Covington against Buckley. I say Colby Covington against Buckley.
If Covington's coming back, he's going to be fighting for a title. He's not going to be fighting a random guy like Buckley. I think Colby Covington has more likelihood of facing Shavkat than facing Buckley. And I don't know if it'll be Colby, but gun to my head, so it's not Kamaru. which Kamaru came out and did this whole fucking press tour for 2 weeks and got a shit.
What if they got Islam, bro?
It honestly pisses me off thinking about it. It's not going to be Islam. It pisses me off thinking about it. The fact that Kamaru like came out there and for like 2 weeks nonstop was like, yo.
By the way, you want to know my
matchup for me, you know, like I think I can go out there. I think I could beat him. He's very hittable. He's very, you know, I got a good game plan. And then after like 2 weeks of doing that, it's like, oh shit, fellas, I don't know. You know, it's like.
By the way, I had a crazy person in mind.
Yeah,
I thought about it after this past week.
Okay,
Carlos Prates.
Oh fuck, that's a good one.
5 fights in 1 year, main event 310, 5 rounds. If he wins, tell me that is not the biggest fucking entry into the UFC ever.
Hear me out.
It's not going to happen.
Hear me out. So I'm going to give you 2 different possibilities. For the record, I don't think there's any way the flyweight title headlines at all. I don't
think they will not allow that.
Chance.
They will not allow that.
Especially end of the year, it's not going to happen.
Even though that fight's a fucking banger, it could hold up.
Best fight on the card. But here's the thing. I think one of 2 things are going to happen. We're going to look at Shavkat fight he's going to fight either Colby Covington, he's going to fight Ian Gary, or he's going to fight Sean Brady. One of those 3.
Wait, Sean Brady hasn't even been a name that I've heard mentioned.
No, but he's ranked number 4. He's ranked number 4. Short notice.
Dude, could Brady make the fucking call, dude? That'd be insane.
I'm just saying, whenever times get tough.
Holy shit, babe, I just saw Sean Brady. I need to find that meme if he does get fucking called up.
There's only so many guys you can step up to fight. Or I think we're going to get one of those guys who's been offered to step up, and they're going to fight. This is something nobody's talked about. Nate Diaz. Think about it. Nate Diaz randomly this week. Nobody posted about it. He posted a picture of himself, and like he just posted just a picture of himself in the UFC fight gear. That's all I posted. Could it just be him fucking around and just like, oh, here's an old picture from whenever I fought like Tony or whatever during fight week? Maybe it's that. But Nate's pretty calculated. He could be angling to do something.
No matter what shot
on
fight,
short notice.
Shot fight's going to be one half of the fight, right? Like we can kind of agree on that.
You know what? Yeah, I'd say so. But you know what? Thinking about it again, Nick Diaz is supposed to fight on that card, and they don't like to fight on the same.
By the way, crazy thought. Do you think any 55er would make the call?
I'll have to look at the rankings actually. So it's not going to be Sardukian. It's not going to be Islam. They're booked for January. Oliveira's fighting. Gaethje's not going to do it. Poirier's not going to do it. Hollow. I mean, you know what's funny is I actually see Max Holloway's crazy enough to do it, but he just lost.
No.
Dan Hooker. No, I don't think anybody from 55 would do it. It's not.
I feel like the only person from 155 who can make that is probably Dustin, but he's probably not going to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I think we're either going to get like a curveball of like Nate Diaz against Dustin Poirier, just a random fight between 2 stars.
I'll give you my final prediction since we've been kind of going through it. I think it's going to be Machado or Gary versus Shockbot.
I think that's.
And I think the Tampa event's going to be Colby versus Buckley.
I think that's the most likely one. I'll say that. I think that's the most likely.
Granted, though, Dana could just fucking Woj bomb us. Islam Makhachev versus Shock, which it's not likely. But you know what I mean? Like he could hit us with something insane like that.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That being said, man, anything else you want to go and talk about before we go and bounce out of here, man?
No, man. I mean, it's gonna be a crazy weekend. Yeah. I mean, there's other events we didn't talk about. Some that like Cage Warriors is going down this morning. KSW is having their 100th event. I think LFA had an event last night or maybe yesterday. I don't know. Maybe last week. I might be forgetting. On top of that, Humberto Ramirez is fighting. And I might be forgetting some other event, man. But it's a jam-packed week.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm seeing some people say, by the way, right now it's going to be Shavkat, Jack de la Madalena. That's not happening. I feel pretty confident about that one. Maybe I'll be wrong. But Jack hasn't called for it, and he's healing from an injury, if I remember correctly. So it's like...
That was one people were throwing out there, but it was a one that I was like... No. I don't know why. It seems like the last option for me.
As long as Shavkat remains, like I said this last week, dude. If Shavkat remains on the card, you can have him fight Mike fucking Malott for all I care. Just give me a Shavkat fight, dude. The fact that we haven't had him fight this year is criminal.
They could have Tricoli fight.
I don't give a shit. Do it. You throw in where's fucking Michael Gilmore at? You know, like,
this sounds actually it's kind of crazy. This is a one that I haven't thought about and no one's mentioned. Could you see them signing someone from another promotion?
Like who?
Just pulling someone who's a 170er from another major promotion, like from KSW or some shit like that.
No. There's not a big enough star that could sign around that. But, well, yeah, I don't even know who would be. I mean, I'd say a guy like the only big enough star around that weight class is a guy like Cedric Duambe, and he's still with the PFL, I think, but we haven't seen him in 6 months, so I don't even know.
I would have. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard. I don't know.
That's why I saed the curveball of maybe Nate Diaz or some shit. You know, like I don't think that would happen, but I've seen weirder.
That's what I said. That's why I threw Islam out there and dusted like a 155er.
Yeah,
but I don't think they'll do that. I feel like it's gonna be a guy in the welterweight rankings.
I agree with you. But yeah, your final prediction is Gary Shavkat, and my final prediction, I guess, I don't want to pick the same one as you, but
it might be Brady Buckley actually for Tampa too. Now that I'm thinking about it.
But I'm gonna for the more fun one, I'm gonna throw a wild card out there. I think it's gonna be a short notice fight between two guys that we aren't expecting, and Shavkat will be off the card.
Oof.
That's my bold prediction.
Can you throw a freak show matchup out there that's just gonna be insane?
Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier.
What's that?
Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier, or Alex Pereira, Derek Lewis. I'm just spitballing here.
I don't think Poatan will do it.
I don't think Poatan will do it either.
It's kind of been confirmed that Poatan is not gonna make that call.
Yeah. Well,
could you imagine if Ankalaev and Poatan did make the call? I mean, I doubt it. It's not
maybe we'll get Zhang Weili against Valentina Shevchenko.
Last minute, dude. Could you imagine?
Maybe we'll get. I don't know, man. Fuck.
I mean,
they're tapped for options. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens, man.
Dude, Merab Sean last second. I mean, I doubt it, but
maybe we'll get a non-title Sean
Ilya versus Merab.
Ilya versus Merab, something like that. No,
I mean, we're throwing some crazy thoughts out there.
Maybe Ilya will move to lightweight and fight fucking
Dustin Poirier.
None of that's gonna happen. That being said, anything else you want to talk about, man?
No, man, that's it. I mean, I thought we got pretty creative out there and threw some crazy thoughts. Granted, it's probably going to end up being the most boring, basic ones that we came up with. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
Nevertheless, we had fun.
I agree, man, and I hope you guys had fun. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel_01 at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show. If you guys follow us, and also go ahead and take a look at our sponsors down there in the description: BetMGM, Rogue Energy, ELYXR, and Rebet. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Peace. See you next week.